All right, everybody, another day, another project. So we are out here on this little retention pond. It's not too big, nothing too crazy, and the owner wants basically all this mulch down, about as far in as we can reach, pretty much to about like right in there. And we're just gonna mulch all this stuff down. Nothing too big, nothing too crazy. A lot of little small volunteer pines. I think the tallest one over there is probably around 16 feet or so. They're not that big. They're probably 2-3 inches in diameter at the bottom. So nothing big, nothing too crazy. Some of these, I think these are called groundsel trees or something like that. I looked them up. They're just kind of these brushy, bushy things. A lot of dog fennel and other weeds and stuff in here. So we're just gonna come through here and knock all this down. This retention pond goes down to a point right there. Kind of goes to like right there, so it's kind of like a triangle. And so I think that's probably corner to corner 100 yards, if that, maybe only 80 yards. It's not too far. That one's probably about the same, and then this little section right here is probably 30 or 40 yards. So nothing too crazy that we got to do here. So you guys a better view there. So that's probably 30 or 40 yards through there. And I got the mini and I got the mulcher. Just grease this thing up and just put a quick sharpen on the teeth, and we are going to get started. So, and then I'll be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be out here mowing all of this. This is about 1.5 acres or so right here. It goes behind that little tree line there, and then on the other side, and then right behind this tree line there's another like 2.5 acres we got them. I think all together in here it's like 4 acres. I cut this like 2 years ago, and it took me about 7 hours. It's pretty thick in there. It was about the same height, and it was a job. And I did it in a pouring down rainstorm, and that might have been why it took a little longer. But so we're gonna do that tomorrow, and then we got some lots over there on the other side of the street. There's probably another 2.5 acres over there that we got to cut as well to bush hog. So I'll be up here with the skid steer for probably the next 2 days, doing some bush hogging and mowing. So that'll be fun. We'll get some footage of that. Should be able to time lapse some of it and stuff. The last time I couldn't. So all right, well, let's enough talking, more doing. So let's get in this thing and get her fired up, and she should be nice and warmed up while I was greasing it and sharpening the teeth, and we'll get to mulching this out. So let's get started. Oh, looky here. There's a baby alligator in there. On the wall. There it goes. Dang, didn't know you were in here. Well, that's cool. If I can't get a picture of him real quick. There we go. Sorry. Huh. Oh, that's interesting. Cool. I was moving the camera and I saw him swimming right there. I was like, first I thought he was a snake. I was like, no, there's a little gator in there. That's cool. Nice little home for him in here. Plenty of food. All kinds of stuff in here for him to eat. It's always an adventure out here. Always finding something. All right, well, there it is. So I wanted to walk down here and show you guys one quick thing. Good news and bad news with this job is, the good news is pretty much got everything around this retention pond except for that little bit of back corner. And the reason for that is, I'm gonna walk right here and show you. This whole retention pond was pretty much flat across those two sides, but once you pass this corner right here, this is the dam, basically. Excuse me, dust is getting to me. So this was the dam that they built up right here to make this retention pond. These two sides, I think, were pretty much at grade, and then this fell off right here, so they filled all this in, and this is very steep coming off this side right here. So my initial thing was to try to walk the machine down this side here, and you'll kind of see that in the video, and reach the arm over and mulch. But as I got down to about where that pine is leaning over, it got actually about where that oak is right there, it got too steep for me to get through there, and it got too wide coming down off this side for me to sit down here and reach all the way over and get this edge. So I got to about where that oak tree is and just about called it a day. And earlier I had tried to walk the machine up on this edge here, but the machine is so wide and this is so narrow, and this is a good example right here, is the tracks were sitting here and all the weight is trying to go flat on the undercarriage, but the tracks are trying to fold to the ground, and so they were like basically trying, almost detracking, and they were hopping and popping when I came up here, and I was like, that's when I tried to kind of go down this way. Well, once I figured out that wasn't going to happen, I was like, well, let me try to go up here one more time. I was like, worst comes to worst, I'll throw a track, but I could still walk it back out and be okay. So I walked it pretty much along this thing, and man, the tracks were hopping and popping, and I thought for sure I was going to throw a track, but I didn't. I got very lucky. But I made it all the way about to where that big oak is, right, or that pine, whatever the hell that thing is. It's a big ass dead tree. And I basically couldn't get around it and by it. So that's about where the overflow is, and then they've got a big like dissipator pad that goes off into a creek back there with the overflow, and then the pipe goes under it, and then they have that big dissipator pad on top of it. And if I had to guess, I think that's probably how that gator got in here. He probably got born somewhere back in there, and he crawled his way up that ditch and got into that pond and got in through that pipe, maybe, possibly, because that ditch actually runs, there's a culvert pipe and actually runs out that way. So he could have come that way and then crawled up, either gone through that pipe when it overflowed maybe, or just crawled over the dam. But I don't know where he went. But he followed me around a lot. He was not scared of that mulcher at all. He was following me. I think he was like waiting for like bugs and stuff to get thrown in. I got to come through here tomorrow and just kind of pick some of this stuff out by hand that's laying here. I'll snatch that up and maybe bring it right over here and just mulch it down with the MTL. But yeah, the rest of this turned out really good. I got some runoff right here in this thing. That's what it looks like. I don't know if that needs to be dredged eventually or not, or maybe they doesn't look like they did it like that. Regardless, that one little corner is all I got left to do. If they want me to do it, I'll have to do it by hand, but it's not a huge deal. But I just couldn't get through there, and I didn't want to walk the machine over the dissipator pad. That just seemed like a bad idea. It's hard, bad on the tracks, and if it's soft underneath that pad, I could damage it. And the pipe that runs under it is just like a plastic, it's like thick white plastic PVC, so it's nothing real. It's not concrete or anything real structural, and I didn't want to put all that weight on it. It could give way and crack and bust, and then that would be a whole nother disaster. So going across that dissipator pad was not an option. But yeah, all this turned out really good. Yeah, I couldn't really get was that corner, and I couldn't get down into that. That's all soft right there. You go down to that, you're dunsies. So, but yeah, I think this turned out great. And then we'll be back here tomorrow with the MTL, and we'll start bush hogging all this back in here. I'll maybe kind of go down and clean up that line a little bit right through there and just straighten it up, and we'll clean this corner out and all this will look good. So the only thing's left for me to do is to put the ramps up, chain her down, and I'm out of here. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was fun, very interesting, and hopefully that gator doesn't get too much bigger. He's got it made in here in this little pond. I'm sure there's plenty of food, but if an otter gets in here, he's probably done for. But he gets too big the next time I come over here and start mulching this. He might come after me. But all right, guys, hope you guys enjoyed that. That was cool. So stay tuned. I'll be back out here tomorrow. We'll film all that, and that should be cool too. So stay tuned, more stuff coming, and I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys later. Bye, everybody.